Hi there, it's Sunday, so welcome to another episode. It's been a while since the last Smash or Trash, but Michu is back and kicking. I don't know how many of you know this episode from abroad, where these YouTubers came up with an idea to use WD-40 instead of engine oil, because the package says it's good for this and for that, and also for engines, though more in the sense of maintenance and cleaning. And as you well know, I'm notorious for testing everything. Regular viewers will remember that the engines at M4K used to run on plant oil, used for a whole year in a Corsa. It did well. The Corsa is alive and kicking till this day. There was water instead of engine oil, there was lard, margarine and anything else that you can think of. So if you know anything about engine oil, you know it has two crucial basic parameters. First, provide lubrication film to all moving and rotary elements of the motor. Second, that's right, decrease heat. So if the lubrication parameter has not been met but we dissipate the heat, the car may go a bit further, like in that episode where I poured water instead of oil. Let me just remind you the results. The car with no oil made 15 kilometers and the one with water instead of oil made something like 40 and nothing happened. Okay, the engine started to make funny noises. Later I got the bearing shells from the junkyard and they look really bad though. So I decided to check out the thing with using WD-40 as engine oil for two reasons. I got hundreds of emails from you. Michu, this might work. Michu, test this thing out. And why did you write that? Because those nice fellas took a very nice, what was it? A Ford Probe, a very nice one, and just slaughtered it like little brats. They murdered it and said it had just all blown up and all. Dear viewers, you can even take a new car and if you block the throttle with a steel pipe and leave it with no cooling, the exhaust system and the engine will heat up so much that whatever liquid you pour in, at some point it will just blow to pieces. So I decided to check the engine properties of WD-40 and make a diligent test that those guys never made, meaning check out the bearing shell before and after. Because the bearing shell is one of the most crucial rotatory bearing elements of our crankshaft and the piston crankshaft system. Today's protagonist is a car I bought from a viewer by pure coincidence. When I came to pick it up, it turned out he knows me. A 1.2 Renault Twingo from 1996. So before I move on to the merit and testing method, Stanisław will make a presentation. 3, 2, 1. So I hope that nobody will feel sorry for our protagonist. It's not that I don't have sympathy for this car. It's beautiful and lovable in its own way, but remember one thing about this kind of wrecks for 800 zloty. If someone writes, he says he loves cars and he's destroying one, I'm not destroying it. It will get one more life in another episode where it will meet its end. Cars like this one should not be driven. It has no seals, no floor, and if it comes to any accident, then... By the way, my friend, you shouldn't drive with these tires. These tires were good 16 years ago. Now, this is what the manufacturer says about the product. Stop squeaks, drives out moisture, cleans and protects, looseness, rusted parts, freeze, sticky mechanisms, blah blah blah. Does it not ties to? Right. There was a film like that once. There's also an icon on the back. Unique greasing properties. Make mechanisms more efficient. It's going to be faster then. Maybe applied by spraying with a brush or through soaking. Soak the surface. Blah blah blah. The product is very flammable, so I decided to check that as the first thing. If something goes into the engine, I don't want it to overheat and start burning inside, so I spilled some on the floor and torched it. Flammability. There. They say it burns easily. They say there are virgins in the Sopot resorts. There. It's probably something I spilled before that's burning. Sure, WD-40 is very flammable. When? When it's in a spray can. Then all those gases torch up like in a flamer kit. But let's get to the point. We decided to make this as diligent as we can, so we lifted the car up, flushed the engine twice, so as to dilute the oil inside to the point that it flushes out any possible carbon deposits and reaches such texture that it will just go out completely, so that there's as little of it in the engine as possible. Do you think I gave up? No way. We dismantled the sump, took the bearing shell out. Check out the bearing shell as it is now, and at the end I will show you how it looks after. It's the bearing shell from the first connecting rod. It's the main bearing shell and not the Conrod bearing shell. Just FYI. It looks quite well after 199,000. Right, sure. Next, so there's no risk of oil left in the crannies, the oil filter was removed. Then we took a washing gun and rinsed it all down with crude oil. Then my friend Kuba gun washed all the bottom parts, including the oil pickup. We finished it off by turning the wheel a few times while in a gear to stimulate the oil pump to push out anything that was left. What did we get out of it? A lot! We minimized the risk of any amount of oil larger than 100 mm being left in the system because we flushed it. We can't promise what color it will have at the end because WD-40 is a penetrating agent, meaning it will probably clean something in there. So, let's put us through to Michu in real time, meaning today, when we already have a new oil filter in place and we pour that thing in. Then the bold moron who mouths off with no clue about what he's talking, because how can a taxi driver open garage, will take you on a trip that didn't end after 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 kilometers. Have fun, then, and we will meet again in a summing up part. Time to feed the bastards. Greasing properties. You know well from engine oils that W stands for viscosity in freezing temperatures. The D stands for death, so 40 is when the engine dies. This is what I figured. Alright, we are supposed to pour between 3.5 and 4 liters in. I can say it sure smells nice. Alright, let's start it and see how much we are missing. Let's hear how it sings, if we don't have any rotary engine parts drumming from the start. Start it, Mr. Łukasz. Let's check the level of oil. Oil that greases all. Nice! Alright, place your bets. I'm not limited by anything today because it's only 1 p.m. I hope you can hear me fine. So, the mileage is... What is it? Where's the mileage in this car? When I find it, I will take a picture. Will it go? It goes. Quite a cool car. A rapper's wagon, no? I found the mileage. There's a computer here. Wait, I will reset it. But it just won't reset. And 0 it is. I will capture this before I go. That's Inception, dear viewers. 0.0. What a beautiful meter. I will be putting small films inside if I manage. The support car is ready, so we go on the ring road, make a full circle, turn towards Bytów and so on. Let's say I will check up in every 10 to 20 kilometers. These driving properties! Really? Alright. 12 kilometers and nothing happened. My only worry is that when the oil really heats up, something might happen, though it didn't catch fire from the flame. My first time in Twingo. How do you feel about it, Michu? Well, I can put both my hands through the windows, so that's cool. I spent 800 zloty on it and it drives better than many 3-4 thousand zloty cars from the renowned brand, so that's nice. See you after 20 kilometers. "20. An accident? No, just traffic lights. Checking out the acceleration. Listen to this. Look at the world passing by. 3, 2, 1. All good, don't worry. Nothing new in the engine sound. It gets stifled a little, but I don't know if it's... If there was anything going on with the engine, it would already be knocking. You know, I killed a few cars in front of the camera already. Congratulations! Double yellow line, with a no passing sign. 30 kilometers, so further than with no oil, almost as far as with water instead of oil. Nothing happening with the engine. There's a bit of the WD-40 smell inside, probably because of all those leaks we had. If this Twingo makes it, we'll check its off-road and other skills. And with no regrets too, because there is no point repairing such cars. You have to be a moron to say, Michu, you murdered a car. No, you have to be a moron to kill a healthy Prelude, which is a nice car. But the Twingo that would need half of the floor and both inner and outer seals replaced? You would have to be a kamikaze for that, no? Alright, I still have some 20 kilometers to get to my destination. It will be 50 in total. Another 50 on the way back and we will know if there's anything going on. No regrets here. What a sound! I love it! Crazy! Okay, 50 kilometers. I was supposed to check in every 10, but I have to keep low RPMs because this doesn't really work. Sorry. Crazy. Generally, my theory is that... No, wait. There's something going on with the fuel, with air, because it stifles when I release the clutch. But that's been there from the beginning. I will do a full 100 and will check the bearing shell for any abrasions. I have a theory that I will share in the summing up part, and that's that. I will also tell you what I think about what the guys in the States did. I think we'll see this lady off-road. That's the off-road car for 1000 zloty or less. I will see you when there are some new interesting numbers on the meter. Low battery on the GoPro. Almost 80 kilometers. I could probably get to Krakow. I've kept it in third for 10 or 15 minutes. Life. Everyone is in such a rush here. It's 70, hello? And I'm doing 80. Go faster. I call the left kidney. Over 100 kilometers. The camera guy went to the garage already. I will turn back to make it 110. An interesting holiday idea. Buy a car for 800 zloty with an insurance valid for a year and go to the other side of Poland. No, that's a stupid way of thinking. Anything like tires in this case. I don't go faster than 80, and the technical condition? Though the suspension and brakes work fine, I wouldn't want to crash into something with this thing. So, provided I don't fall apart, I will see you in a second for you when you watch this. Don't push it into the floor when your wheels turn. I hope the test was diligent and that you like it. Honestly, I have to say a few things. First of all, a very cool car. How can you not love such an ugly car? Okay, it might look a little like a frog, but it was so nice to drive it. The only shortcoming was that I could put both my hands through the window, see? But apart from that, the ride-through bit was quite a swag. Elbow out, a 2-meter tall bloke in a Smurfette like this one. But seriously, now, it was cool to drive it, and to tell you the truth, regardless of the price, it was in better condition than many wagons for 3,000–4,000, so maybe this means something. My view on this is simple. WD-40 or any other solution of this kind has to work and do at least a few hundred kilometers, for a few reasons. First of all, it has greasing properties, so it didn't magically fall apart like in the American video, even though we tormented it quite badly. I mean, we really did. If we drive in third for 10 kilometers at cutoff, changing thirds to second, to third until cutoff, I should say we are not easy on this car at all. Did I seize it up? No. Is it still standing? Yes. What did I learn about the properties of our magic solution that works for everything? Well, let it do the things it's designed to do, because first of all, check out the bearing shell before, and now let's add a screen here. I so mess it up for the editor now. Let's add a screen here and show the other bearing shell. And that's right, there is some abrasion already. This means that the greasing properties are not as strong as we would have liked. What is another important factor why it's not a good idea to use it in this way? Well, we ended up with at least 30% less than what we poured in. It's not magic. It's physics. This product simply vaporizes. It all just started to evaporate. If you don't believe me, look what happens to WD-40 if you pour it into a can and heat it up with a burner. It starts to evaporate. And what happens to the fumes that build up in the crankcase? They are moved back up into the engine, into the combustion chamber, through the oil separator and into the air intake. So I think it could end after another 200 kilometers, because out of 3 or 4 liters, at least 1.5 when they wall. Another conclusion against using this solution? It's completely uneconomic. Even at the best retail prices, a middle-class oil I would use in my engine is still cheaper than 5 liters of WD-40, so you have to consider that as well. Now, does the American video have anything to do with reality?
One thing only. And if you want, I can make an episode like that one day. Virtually any car treated with that level of bestiality, whether it drives on WD-40, Motul, Castrol, Valvoline or anything else, is going to die from the lack of cooling. The whole block will heat up and finally something is going to catch fire, something is going to melt and finally the crank is going to say adios. See you in the next episode then. See ya!